Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that the smartest people you know are often the ones lying in bed the longest, scrolling on their phones, stuck in their heads, doing nothing? They understand the material. They know what they're supposed to do. They can see 10 steps ahead, and yet they can't start. If that sounds like you, this video is going to hit close to home, because today we're talking about why intelligent people struggle with motivation. And no, it's not because you're lazy or undisciplined or broken. A lot of intelligent people grow up being labeled the smart one. Teachers expect more from you. Family members compare you to others. Everyone assumes success is inevitable, like it's just going to happen on its own. But then real life starts. Deadlines pile up, pressure increases, and suddenly you find yourself procrastinating, burning out faster than others, feeling mentally exhausted before you even begin. The most painful part is knowing you're capable of more, yet watching yourself do less. That gap between your potential and your actions is where frustration, guilt, and self-doubt start living rent-free in your mind. One of the biggest reasons this happens is overthinking. Intelligent minds don't just think, they simulate. When you see a task, you don't just see the task. You see every possible outcome. If you need to study, your brain instantly jumps to, what if I fail anyway? Or, what if this doesn't even matter for my future? Or, what if I waste years going down the wrong path? And while your brain thinks it's protecting you, what it's really doing is freezing you in place. Overthinking isn't intelligence at its best. It's fear disguised as logic. And fear loves to delay action. Another reason motivation feels so hard is because intelligent people aren't driven by pressure the way others are. Generic advice like just push through or be disciplined works for people motivated by external rewards or fear of consequences. But intelligent minds crave meaning. If a task feels pointless, shallow, or disconnected from who you think you are, your brain quietly shuts motivation off. That's why you can spend hours researching random topics late at night, but struggle to start a simple assignment due tomorrow. Your brain isn't lazy, it's selective. The problem is that real life doesn't always feel meaningful in the moment, so motivation disappears. There's also a deeper emotional layer most people don't talk about. When you're smart, you're often praised for outcomes, not effort. You hear things like, you're so intelligent, or you always get it right. Over time, you subconsciously learn that your worth is tied to your performance. So trying and failing doesn't just feel disappointing, it feels like losing your identity. Not starting feels safer than failing. Potential feels better than proof. Planning feels better than execution. So you wait for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect plan, and that moment never comes. Burnout is another silent killer of motivation for intelligent people. You think more than most. You analyze constantly. You reflect, replay conversations, imagine futures, question decisions. Even when you look like you're resting, your brain is still running. That mental load adds up. So you feel tired without doing anything physical, unmotivated without a clear reason. That's not laziness, that's mental exhaustion. And burnout doesn't respond to guilt or self-criticism. It responds to smarter systems and real recovery. Here's where things shift. Most people believe motivation comes first and action comes second, but psychology shows the opposite. Action comes first, motivation follows. Motivation is not a starting signal, it's a reward chemical. That's why you don't feel motivated to study until you open the book, or motivated to clean until you start moving. Waiting to feel motivated is one of the biggest traps intelligent people fall into, because your brain is always waiting for certainty. Instead of asking, do I feel motivated? The better question is, what's the smallest action I can tolerate right now? Not the perfect action, not the full plan, just the tolerable one. This is where shrinking task becomes powerful. Intelligent people don't fear work, they fear commitment. Big tasks feel like identity-level decisions. So instead of telling yourself you need to finish an entire chapter, you tell yourself you'll read one page. Instead of studying for 3 hours, you open your notes. Your brain resists high-threat effort, but allows low-threat actions. And once you start, momentum often kicks in naturally. Even if it doesn't, you still win, because showing up consistently rewires your self-trust. Another key shift is separating your self-worth from your productivity. You are not your output. When productivity drops, it doesn't mean you're failing as a person. Intelligent people often collapse identity and performance into one thing, which makes every unproductive day feel like a personal flaw. Changing your internal language matters more than you think. Instead of saying, I'm lazy, say my system isn't working. Instead of, I should be better, say I'm learning how my brain works. Reducing emotional friction makes motivation easier to access. Force doesn't work long-term for intelligent minds. Curiosity does. When you approach tasks like experiments instead of obligations, resistance drops. Asking questions like, what happens if I work for 10 minutes? Or, how can I make this easier? Or, what's the simplest version of this? Turns pressure into engagement. Pressure kills motivation. Curiosity fuels it. You don't need to become a robot with extreme discipline. You need to stay human and mentally interested. Momentum also builds faster when you focus on identity instead of goals. Instead of saying, I want to be productive, you start telling yourself, I'm someone who shows up for 5 minutes, or I'm someone who starts even when it's imperfect. Your brain wants to stay consistent with who you believe you are. Once you see yourself as a starter, motivation naturally follows because action becomes part of your identity, not a constant battle. And let's talk about rest, because intelligent people struggle with it the most. Rest often feels like failure, like wasted time, like falling behind. But rest is not the opposite of productivity, it's part of it. If your brain is exhausted, motivation won't magically appear. Real rest without guilt or mental punishment restores motivation faster than self-criticism ever will. Recovery is not quitting, it's maintenance. If you don't address this pattern, here's what happens long-term. You become someone with great ideas but low execution. Someone who always feels behind despite having high ability. Someone who doubts themselves unnecessarily. But if you learn how to work with your mind instead of against it, everything changes. An intelligent mind with sustainable motivation is rare and powerful. So here's the takeaway. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're human. Your brain overthinks to protect you, avoids pain, seeks meaning, and learns through action. Understanding this doesn't excuse bad habits. It gives you a roadmap to change them. Tonight, don't try to fix your entire life. Pick one task, make it ridiculously small, start it imperfectly, 5 minutes, 1 page, 1 action. That's how trust with yourself is rebuilt. And if this video made you feel understood, you're not alone. Let's level up together.